So start. Let's test. So first we create account. Let's say, let's test. See, the username and passwords are wrong. Cat. The username will be wrong, true, but it will not be stored. And then let's say 1234, 1234. And now we have signed up already. Now we have stored this. As you can see, we have already stored that. Let's exit and then let's try cat and then 1234 and log in. It will log in. Exit. So if I don't, if there's no cat st, you see there's no login. Assalamu alaikum. In this video I'm going to be explaining how to create a create account form for your Windows Forms application. So in the last video we have created a login screen and we can log in using the username and the password that we have already set. So this time we want the users to create unique accounts and we want them to store them inside of the program. Okay, and we are gonna give them the ability to use their own username and then their own password. So in the last video also we have compared the password box and the username box, these two, to the username and password that we have created, but we have used the equal method, equal operator, but this is not correct. So password box dot text, this is not the optimal way. So when we want to compare any strings, we want to use the equals method. Okay, so we will use the equal method and then we'll use password box dot text. So I have made a mistake in the last video and you will need to change that to equal password dot. Okay, so this will change later, so don't worry about this. Just to let you know that this was not correct. So first we want to create a create account button for our form. So let's create a new button. Add this here and let's change the size just so we can see it better. Okay. All right, let's change what it says. So create new account. Okay, that's good. Let's change the color, the size, 10, make it bold, true. That is all we need. And we also want to change the name of it inside of our code. So let's go to the design, and then we want to change the name to create account button. Okay, so this will be the create account button, and then we want to double click on it so it will add the method. The program will add the method here. So whenever we click on this button, we will show the other form, which is create account form. So let's add a new form. So we will call it create account. So add the form and then we'll change the name to create account. Okay, so this is the create account form, so we'll add it. It will be added here. Okay, and now we want to call this, we want to show this whenever we press on this button. So to do that, we want to create an object of the class. So first we want to create an object. So create account with a capital S in the beginning, C, and let's say account, we'll call it account, and new create account, and then we call the constructor of the object, and then we call the name of the object, which is account. Okay, and then we say show dialog method. We use the show dialog method, which will show us this page. So now when we run, Okay, you see, we show the create account page. That's good enough for now. Okay, so now let's design the account, the create account screen. So we'll make it a little bit smaller, and then I want to add two or three text boxes. Text box. So one for the username, text box. Okay, one for the password, and then one for the password again. So we want the user to enter the password 2 times. Okay, so this one is for the username, so make it a little bit bigger. This is for the password, and then this is for the password again. So they can confirm that they have entered the right password. Okay, and then we want 5 labels. Label. Okay, so label 1, label 2, label 3, label 4, and label 5. Okay, so we will use these 2 labels for errors. So we will tell the user if the username is not correct and if the password is not correct, and these will use so we can indicate what we want them to enter. Okay, so here first we want the username in the first box, so let's call it username. Okay, so this is the username, and then this is the password. Okay, and this label 3 is the confirm password. Okay, so we confirm the password, we enter the same password again, so the user knows that he entered the right password that he wants. And then we want this label to be wrong username. User name. Okay, so whenever the user enters a wrong username, we will display this error message. So let's make it, okay, wrong username. We'll make it a little bit bigger, make it bigger. We'll change also the color. First we'll change the color to be red, so this is a warning. Okay, so we'll change the font to 10, and then we'll make it bold. Okay, so wrong username, and then we want this label here to say the password is wrong. So wrong password. Okay, so if the user enters one password here and then the other password is not the same, so we will display this and we'll say the user has entered a wrong password. Okay, let's make this. Okay, I'll put it here. Okay, and let's make it bold and change the color also, or red, and make the font bold and 10. Okay, so wrong password and wrong username. So this is all we need, and now we will change the names of the code. So we will change the names inside of the code. So first we will select the username box. We will name it username, so it's gonna be text box 1. Inside of the code it will be named text box 1, but we will call it text, not text, username box A. I'm calling it username box A because we have already named this text box here to be username box. So we will change the name to be something different. Okay, so it will be username box A. And then for the password, we will change this to say password box A. Password box A. And then here, this will be confirm password. Confirm pass. Just make sure you don't type space. This will not be correct. So we need them without spaces. So this will be used inside of the code. And then we want to change this labels name to be user error. So user name error. يعني خطأ في اليوزر name. Okay, we'll call that username error. And then we want also label 5, this label to be password error. Okay, so this will be password error, this will be username error, and then this will be username box, and so on. And lastly, we want to add a button so we can confirm the sign up. Okay, so we'll change the size of it just a little bit. Okay, so first let's change what it says. So sign up, and we'll change this font 10 bold. Okay, we're good. And then we change this in the design, we'll change the name of it to be sign up button. Okay, so sign up button. So we have created a button, we have created a field for the name, for the password, for the confirm password, and then we want the errors to show. So let's double click on it, and it will add this method. So first we want to hide these errors. So we want to display the error when the user enters a wrong username or a wrong password. Okay, so as you can see here, if I run and I select this, you create account, you see the wrong username and the wrong password are always showing. So we want to hide these. Okay, so let's select this, select the wrong username error, and then we want to go to behavior and then to visible. This will set it to be always false. Okay, and then we will change also for the wrong password. Okay, and as you can see, if we run, it will not be showing. Okay, so that will not show. Okay, so first we want to make these two labels disappear whenever we press on the sign up button. Okay, so first we want to use the user name error. Okay, dot visible equals false. Okay, so this will make the username error disappear whenever we click on the button. So we'll reset every time we click sign up. So we will check if there's an error. If there's no error, we will not display this error. Okay, and then we want the password error also. So password error to be visible equals false. Okay, so these two should be false. So, and then after that, we want to also create two arrays so we can store inside of them the passwords and the usernames. So first we are going to create a string array, which is called user name array. Okay, and this we will initiate it by 10 values. We will only store 10 accounts, so the program will not need more than 10. So First, I'm going to make it where we will just put this sign here just to initiate the array. So we put anything inside of the array. We'll just put this, and we will put 10 of these so we can start. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And then we will create another array for the passwords so we can store the passwords. Passwords array. Password array. Okay. And then we will assign to it 10 variables. We don't need to initiate the passwords because we will not compare the passwords. We will just compare the usernames. Okay, so we initiate the we will put inside of the usernames array variables because we are going to compare them later inside of the method that we will create. So first, string of 10 variables. So we will have 10 usernames and 10 variables, 10 passwords. And then we want to create a method that will check. We will check if the username is already entered and if the password is correct. If the password here is equal to this password here, and if the name is correct also. So if we didn't enter another username. Okay, so first we will go under the sign up button, and then we will create a boolean method. So private boolean check for errors. Okay, so this method we will check if there is a wrong username or a wrong password. So check for errors, and we will return true. Okay, so if there is an error, we will return true. And let's call the method here check for errors. Well, we will call it later. So first we are going to look at this array. We will see if the name here already exists in the array. If it's already exists in the array, so that will mean the username is not correct, and we will need to display this error message. Okay, so first we go to the array and we create a for loop. So for I, int I is equal to 0 and I is less than user names array dot length. So we will go through the elements of the array and we are going to compare them one by one. Okay, and let's check if the first element is already entered or not. Okay, so if statement, and we need two conditions here. First condition is we don't want any of the names that are here inside of this array. So if the name is already exists in the array, we will display that there is an error. So we will make this username error true. And if the user enters 2 numbers only instead of 3 numbers or three letters, as you can see here, we will tell him that this is wrong. We want more than 2 numbers, only 3 or more. Okay, so the first condition is gonna be if user names array of index I. So we will go through the elements of the array and then we will compare them to the elements here. We will compare them to the input from here. So dot equals user name box A dot text. So we will take the text from username box A from here. We will take the text from here, and then we will compare it to the usernames array. So either here, here, or here, or here, or here. Okay. And or if the element, if the user inputs two numbers, so user name box dot text dot length، يعني إذا كان عدد الحروف أقل من 3 less than 3, so this will display an error, username error, wrong username. Okay, so let's make it, and we will display this error. So user name error dot visible equals true. Okay, and then we will break the for loop, because we don't need to go through all of the array. If we, let's say, if we stored let's say cat here in this element cat, and then the user entered cat here, so if we compare this, we just display the error and then we stop the comparison. We don't need to go through all of the elements here and here and here and here, because we have already found the element. So we break the for loop, and we tell the user that check for errors is there's an error. So the username is already exists, or it has less than 3 numbers. Okay, so let's turn this back. And that is how you compare this, and we will display an error. So let's try this. Let's try to see if it does work. Create account. So if I enter one number only or one letter, you see, it doesn't show because I didn't call the method. Check for errors. Let's call the method. Okay, so this will go here. It will check if there is elements that are equal, or if there is less than 3 numbers inside of the box. Inside of this box, there are less than 3 numbers or 3 letters. We will display this. Okay, so let's try again. Create account. If I entered 2 numbers, 2 digits, you see wrong username, but it doesn't show the wrong password because we have made it false. Okay, so this is how you compare the username. And then for the password, we want 2 conditions. We need this one to be 3 or more letters, both of them. This has 3 or more letters, and this is 3 or more letters, and we want them to be equal. So this has to be equal to this, so we can sign up. Okay, if this is not equal to this, if I type 1 2 1 2 2 and here 1 2 3, you see, if I type here 1 2 3 and here 1 2 2, this will be false, so the wrong password will be shown. Okay, so let's remove that. This. Okay, and then let's go here inside. After that, we check for the name, if the name is correct or not. So if statement, if text, not text, password box A dot text dot equals. So we will compare if the text inside of this box is equal to the other box, if this box is equal to this box. So confirm password box and dot text. So we will check if they are equal. Or if they are not equal, so if that is equal to false, false, or they have less than two numbers. This has less than two numbers and this has less than two numbers. Okay, so if text box or password box a dot text length is equal or is less than 3, we will display the error. Less than 3. Okay, or the other box is less than 3. Let's drop this down. Okay, confirm password box dot text length equals less than 3. So we have three conditions. First, we check for if the usernames or if the passwords are not equal. So if this password is not equal to this, we will display this. If this has less than 3 numbers, we will display this. If this has less than 3 numbers, we will display this also. Okay, so here inside of the if statement, we will say password error dot visible is equal to true. Okay, and then we will return true. Okay, so we will return true because there is an error, and we will tell the check for errors that there is true, there are errors. Okay, and then else if text box A is equal to text box B, we will display and there is no username error. If this is true, so there is a username error. طيب إذا كان هذا صحيح يعني username error visible, فبيكون هناك غلط في اليوزر نيم. طيب فاحنا لازم نسوي تشيك هنا عشان إذا كان شيء غلط في اليوزر نيم ما نرجع false. طيب so we will return here false. User name error dot visible, this has to be false. Okay, and we will return false. So that means there's no error. Okay, so there's no error here. So let's try again. First, we check for the username. So if the username is already exists, or if it has less than 3 numbers, we will tell the user that there's an error here. So we need to tell the username error dot visible is equal to true. So there's an error here, and then after that we will break out of the for loop, and then we will go to check the password. If the password is not equal in both password and confirm password, or if they have less than 3 digits, we will tell the user that there is an error for the password, and then we will exit out of this check to tell the user that there is an error. Okay, if there is no error in the password, and there is no error in the username, as you see here, so if there's an error, we will display that. So this will be true if there is an error in the username. If there is no error in the username, we will not display it, so it will be false. So we will return false. There is no error in the username. And if this whole segment is not true, so if there's only an error in the username, we will return true. Okay, I hope that's not that is not very confusing. Okay, and then let's try that now. So create, as you can see, if I enter two numbers here, you see username is wrong and the password is wrong because we have not entered a password. But if I add two numbers, sign up, you see that disappears because we have entered more than three numbers. Okay, and then this is not equal. So this name here is not equal to any of these because we haven't changed them yet. Okay, we haven't stored the password inside we have not stored the username. And if I enter 3 letters here and 3 letters here, it still shows this because they are not equal. But if I type 3, you see it does not show. You see, if I add a number, because they are not equal, so it will say wrong password. Okay, so that is how you check for errors. And then after we check for the errors, we want to store the variables inside of the arrays. Okay, so we will use a for loop, or we will use the if statement. If there are no errors, equals false. If there are no errors, we will store the variables inside of the array. Okay, so for, we will search in the array. Okay, if the index, so index I is equal to 0 and I is less than the username's array, username array dot length, okay, I plus plus. So we will check each index. If there is this sign here, we will store the variables inside. Okay, so if users array of I dot equals to this, we will store the variables. User name array of I is equal to user name box dot text. Okay, and then we will store the password in the same index. Password array of I is gonna equal to password box a dot text. Okay, so if we have stored, so the first time we enter this, the first time we do this, there will be only this one. There will be only this username. So if we find a username like this, we will store instead of it the username that we want, and then we break, because we don't want to store all of the elements of the array as the same name here. Okay, so we just want to store once, and then we exit out of the loop because we want to store other variables inside of the array. Okay, and I think that is it. Something's wrong. Expected. Oh. Okay. So first we check for errors. If there are no errors, we go through the elements of this array. We will see if there is this sign, we will store instead of it the name of the username. And then the next time this will be different. See, maybe let's say we have entered a username like this. So we will go through the for loop. We will check if this sign is here. So we will store the next name in the other sign. So we'll store it here, and then we will break. You see, and then each time we will do that. So we will store 10 variables. Okay, let's try this. So we start, create account. So if I enter 2 numbers, we get wrong username and wrong password. If I entered 3 numbers or more of the password and they are equal, this will disappear. If I enter 3 numbers and here 4 numbers, this will just appear. But this will not store the variables because we have an error still. And if I add another name, so let's say car, not car, let's say cat, and the password is 1234. You see these disappear, and then we will go inside of the for loop. We will store it inside of the first element here, and then after that, if I press again here, it will say false because we have already stored this variable here. You see, your wrong username because we are already stored the variable. You see, and that is it. So if I change the username, let's say dog, this will disappear, okay, because we have stored that already. So if I say cat again, it will be in index 1. You see, it says wrong username, and it will not store the variable. And that's it. And that is it for the create account screen. And then we want to go to form 1, and then we want to create a string array. But before we do that, we want to make these arrays private and static. We want them to be static because we want to use them in all of the objects. All of the objects of this class will share this. These two arrays. So they will not change. Okay, so we will store all the variables and they will not change. So we can use them inside of our the login screen. Okay, so in the create account, we make it private, static, and string, and then we want to create a method that will a getter method for the username array and the password array. Okay, so let's make it under the click button. Okay, here. Get or will be string array public string array get user names. Get usernames will return a string array. Okay, so return user names array, and then we want to do that also for the passwords. So the password, get password, get passwords, and then we'll return the passwords array. Okay, and that is it for this. So we get the usernames and the passwords. So let's go back to form 1. And then when we click on the login button, which is here, we will create an object of the class create account. Let's say account, or whatever you want, or let's say my account, or whatever. It doesn't matter what you call it. You can name it whatever you want. New create account, and okay, and then we will tell the object my account, or we will first create string arrays, so we can private string. We'll just tell it to create 10 objects, 10 indexes, string of I, not I, 10, string array 10. I forgot to add this. Okay, private string for the usernames, for the passwords, pass array is equal to new string array of 10 variables. Okay, that is good. And before we do this, we will tell that, we'll show that later. Okay, so account, my account, or not my account, the user names array will equal get, or my account dot get usernames. So we will call the get usernames method. It will store the usernames array inside of this. All right, we will get the usernames. Okay, and then passwords array is equal to my account dot get passwords. Okay, that is how you store the two strings. So we get this string from this form to this form. Okay, so we can use them inside of here. And after that, we want to check. We want to go to do a for loop for I int I is equal to 0 while I is less than user names array dot length and I plus plus. Okay, so inside of this we will compare the usernames to the passwords. So user name box dot text dot equals, if the username is equal to any of these, we will store the variable. Okay, so equals user names array of I. So we will compare this, each element of this array, to the thing, and we also want to compare the password box dot text dot equals. Okay, and we'll compare the passwords array. Passwords array dot of I. And we need another one of that. Okay, so now we compare the passwords of the array of the passwords to these two. Okay, and that is it. And then we will create a new instance of this, and after we create this homepage, we want to break, because we don't want to repeat this code again, because we have already done this. Okay, so after that we break the for loop. So we will show the homepage, and then we will show the dialog when the password and the username are equal. So start. Let's test. So first we create account. Let's test. See, the username and passwords are wrong. Cat. The username will be wrong, true, but it will not be stored. And then let's say 1234, 1234. And now we have signed up already. I guess we can indicate and we can create a label for the user. So we will tell him if this account is already created, we will tell him account has been created successfully or something. You can add that later. Okay. Now we have stored this. As you can see, we have already stored that. Let's exit, and then let's try cat, and then 1234, and log in. It will log in. Exit. So if there's no cat st, you see there's no login. And that is how you create the username and the password.